Hey there, hi there, ho there. We are back again for issue number 8.
And you know what? Coronavirus couldn't stop us.
Unfortunately, it has stopped a lot of things in the comic book world that we have discussed. There have been action figures that have been put on the shelf for a little bit. It's bad enough we had to deal with Chinese New Year, which is an actual thing. Yes, it is. It does impede on some action figures at times.
That's a whole week issue. Right there. That's not just one day.
But the coronavirus is definitely taking its hit on a lot of things.
But we're still here.
But we're still here, surprisingly, somehow. Welcome once again to Comic Book 101. I am your lovely, prettiful host, the Princess of Weird himself, Josh Johnson, and to the left of me,
Michael Stanley, cosplaying Tampa Bay. So actually, I'm going to be focusing a lot on the computer now today because
we're live.
We're live.
I'm trying to watch it on my phone here and whatnot, but unfortunately, it's not going to let me, so I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way and watch it later. But that means just more time for you guys to hang out with us and watch it live.
Yes.
If you would like to join in on the chat, please do so. You will be able to contact Mr. Michael Stanley over here, and he will be sure to answer any and if all your questions as we continue on with this show. How was your week, man? I gotta ask.
Dude, my week was busy. It was a busy weekend. We did a lot of work at the house because we have a big fundraiser Thursday for Pepin Academy. So it was a busy week at the house.
Yeah, I know how that is.
To really go out and do anything.
Yeah,
this weekend though is going to be fun.
Yeah, this weekend's going to be more than a lot of fun. I've got some tricks up my sleeve for New Heights Wrestling in just a few short days. I can't wait for that one. But I've been working on a lot of different things. I was working on some video editing this past weekend. I wound up actually starting on some things for Kaiju Big Battle. But the big thing that I did this weekend is I got into a new trading card game.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, as we've been discussing on the show, I'm a huge Transformers fan. I love me some Transformers. And in your local shops now, there's a new Transformers trading card game out there. All the way up to like Wave 4, Wave 5 now of releases and stuff like that. Looks a lot of fun. I can't wait to get home today. I've got a Devastator deck that is waiting for me to be played with. Ooh. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But more on the Transformers later. We got to get into our housekeeping, and the first thing we're talking about this week is the one and only Starship Down signing over at Yancey Street Comics. It is going to be one heck of a signing. We will have the illustrator, Andrea Moody. They will be there signing comic books, putting their name on ink and pen and all that great things.
Not a pen. Pen's worse on a comic.
Well, yeah, Sharpie, a little bit.
Sharpie. Don't use a pen.
Paint pen. Paint pens are where it's at. See, you don't know anything about those paint pens yet. This is going to be a little learning skis for everybody.
I'll stick with a Sharpie.
No. A Sharpie makes paint pens. Paint pens are literally that. It's paint in a pen that when they autograph. No, it won't. It dries a lot faster and stays longer than a Sharpie. So if you're getting autographs on action figures like Mr. Michael Stanley does, a paint pen will last on the plastic bubbling or on the cardboard backing a lot longer than Sharpies because Sharpies are prone to fading, especially thanks to direct sunlight and a few other things. But the paint pens are specifically designed to last longer. Okay, I know a ton of guys who get their wrestling figures done that way.
But, oh, wait, yeah, I do. I got Pop Star signed.
Yeah, so if you're going to start doing that, I highly recommend the paint pen. But for this one, hopefully they got the paint pen. And we've been plugging this for a little bit now. It's coming up in a couple of weeks over at Yancey Street Comics. March 21st. It's going to be a Saturday from 12 to 2. And we've been doing a little bit of research as to what this comic book is about. And it's a Dark Horse Comics new book. It is going to be a limited run series. So there's only going to be about 4 issues for this. And it was announced that this miniseries is basically a new telling of history in a way. So the premise of this entire book is that a archaeological dig discovers an extraterrestrial ship buried underneath the ice for over thousands of years. And we've discovered it. Now we're going to start going into the wreckage, find out what's going on. Might change everything we know about our ancestral beings, everything like that in the book. You got to deal with the Russians, scientists, all these other forces trying to bomb in and trying to find out more than the next person and try to maintain control over this spaceship that is discovered. And obviously it's going to change the way we looked at the world. I mean, if there was a spaceship discovered in the Arctic today, guaranteed it changes everything we know about human history. So that's what this book is about. It's going to discover and explore those ideals, and you can get your book signed on March 21st by the illustrator.
Side note real quick, we have our first person to comment on the chat, talked about the autographs, Edward Richards. We featured him.
Yes, we have.
We were at, actually, Pensacon. I was with them at Pensacon, and they got DC Douglas's autograph on a prop. And it was done with a Sharpie, so they had to go over with a sealant so it wouldn't come off.
See, and there you go. With the paint pens, they usually stay a little bit longer, and I think usually already have the sealant type of thing already in it to protect the
Because if it does
autograph.
have a sealant, I'll definitely buy one.
Oh yeah,
Keep it in my camera bag, so when we do go to conventions, I always have that bag.
Oh yeah,
be like, here,
the people that I have, that I follow for action figure news and stuff like that, that's what they've always recommended. So when the people you're going to recommend it, and they're pretty big in the game, so that's where I go. The next thing in our housekeeping this week is good old Mr. Michael Stanley wanted to cover up something I had said last week.
So last week we were talking about Image Comics, and you briefly mentioned that you thought it was a subsidiary of Marvel, which it's not.
Icon is, though.
Yeah.
The Icon imprint is.
1992. Eric Larson, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, I probably pronounced this one wrong, Willis Particio, Mark Silverstreet, and Jim Valentino all left Marvel, and they all created Image Comics.
And it is a pretty great company that exists. They do the Spawn comics. Oh yes, it is. They do the Kick-Ass comics. They do so many different things. They do the Walking Dead comics right now, which has just recently come to an end not too long ago. But if you're still following the TV show, there's still tons of time for you to get into the books, get into the graphic novels. Good old Papa Tech has been talking about getting into the omnibus, which are a little bit more expensive. They're hardcover, but contains way more of the. They contain all the stories and then some with these things. So sometimes it's worth spending the $75 on the omnibus because you're getting everything.
And big news came out of Image this week, actually, because Image owns Spawn. The Spawn trailer for Mortal Kombat dropped the other day.
And the new Spawn action figure actually just recently came out for Mortal Kombat 11 as well. So a lot of Spawn news coming out right now. All those new stuff from Toy Fair New York. A bunch more stuff. So yeah, Spawn's really killing it. Todd McFarlane is a very, very busy man this year. So 2020, the year of Todd McFarlane.
Oh, it definitely will be with all his toys.
But we have to move.
Taking my wallet away.
That's definitely for sure. One of the things now we have to get to is it's been another week, so we need to discuss all of our new comics for the week. What are we picking up this week? What did you pick up this week? I think I'm going to start our new comics for the week. There's the graphic. We're getting better at this. And the first thing I actually wound up going out to the stores and picking up this week, I talked about it a few weeks ago. I obviously had to pick up the second issue, which is Ghostbusters Year 0, Year 1, Number 2. There it is, Ghostbusters Year 1. And this issue follows Ray Stantz and his recollections as to how the Ghostbusters were originally formed. It's a heck of a comic. I loved the first one, which had Winston Zeddemore featured throughout the whole book. It followed him. It's basically about somebody's writing a book about the Ghostbusters, an autobiography, and they're interviewing each of the Ghostbusters and the people who have dealt with them in some of the movies and stuff to find out the full true story of how they came to be and formed. The first issue, once again, dealt with Winston. The second one with Ray. The third one will, I think, involve Peter Venkman, and the fourth one will involve Egon Spengler. All in time for the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie, which is just a few short months away. So I'm excited.
Cross our fingers on that, because that little virus has pushed movies back.
That one I don't think we'll have to worry too much about that one, because I'm really excited for it. I highly recommend going up to your local shop and picking up Ghostbusters Year 0 or Year 1, issue numbers 1 and 2.
I definitely gotta get that one. The first comic, so I missed last week. I didn't get to go to the comic shop, so I definitely made time this past Friday before Nerd Talk to stop in, see Steve, and pick up the comics. The first one I grabbed was Superman Villains, and I'll pop you right over here.
And there you see the image on the screen. So
yeah, the Man of Steel's greatest villains react to the biggest news to ever rock DC Universe.
And do you know what that news is? Because I know you didn't read this book. I actually read this book. So as soon as you sent me the image for it, I was like, I got to go read this thing. So do you know what that big secret that was revealed?
Not yet.
No, it's not Superman killed by coronavirus, Rob. It is that Superman is Clark Kent. You heard me right. The reporter from the Daily...
He came out of the closet and said who he really is.
Yes, he did.
Finally.
He let everybody know that the man from the Daily Planet, Clark Kent is actually Supes himself, and the whole issue deals with not only people that are close to Superman.
But it's Luthor, Mongol, Toyman, Joker, they all react to it.
To give you all a little bit, dealing with Lex Luthor and the Joker is the best part of the whole book, because Lex Luthor is in his office. He finds out he has 96 missed messages, and it is all the Joker calling him. I can't believe you didn't figure that one out. It was right in front of your nose. Next message. I mean, for real. 96 messages of the Joker just laughing at Lex Luthor for not figuring out that one.
I'd love to see that as an animated movie.
Yeah, I think
that would be a cool one
that would be a good. And they also have a first issue of this. It's Superman Heroes, which deals with all the heroes dealing with the news that Clark Kent is Superman.
No, I'd rather go the villain side first.
Yeah, it was a really good book, really good read. I highly recommend it. Go out to your local shops, pick it up, or pick up the graphic novel when that inevitably drops in a few short months. So that was a really good book. I highly recommend it. Even you, Michael, you should read it just for the sheer sake of we haven't dealt with Superman in comics lately, or for a long time, where people knew who he was. I mean, they've done it with Spider-Man, they've done it with a few other characters. First time they're really doing it with Superman, and it was a heck of an issue. Like, I'm not a Superman fan.
Whole world right there.
Yeah, I'm not a Superman fan, but that was a great Superman comic. So moving on to my next comic book of the week, I happen to continue more of this reading trend I've been on, which was Batman number 90. There you see it. I was hoping for more punchline, the whole reason I checked this out, but we have to wait a little bit longer down the line because they're gearing up for this Joker War, and I believe it's issues 92, 93, 94 deal way more with punchline and her origins in the Joker War that is coming. We're finally going to get the answer of the three Jokers.
Yes, the three Jokers are coming. We're also going to get, coming up in the next Batman, the origin of her too.
Yeah, that's coming up. There's a lot of stuff coming up, and we've talked about it here with the Previews magazine.
Joker.
Oh yeah, and then we're going to have this 80th anniversary, 100 pages of the Joker. This will have everything about Punchline. Punchline versus Harley Quinn is coming. There's a lot going on with DC Comics. If you're a Joker fan, it was our first character spotlight on this show. Go and check out our archives to see that episode. But everything is turning all heads up Joker right now. I'm loving it because me being the big Joker fan I am. I can't wait for it. We've got Dark Knight's Death Metal coming, which deals more with the Batman who laughs. This version of Batman number 90, though, dealt with the character that we were continuing on a little bit more, or talking more about from the last issue in 89, the designer, and how he started formulating this plan where he was going to up every villain's game from being just petty criminals to top-notch supervillains, and would sit there and tell them how their plans would go awry, how it would go awry, how it would go awry, so that it would basically skip them ahead of a few steps. That wasn't until he started to the Joker. Once he starts talking to the Joker, he opens guns on everybody, realizing his plan isn't necessarily going to work out the way it is. And in this issue, you kind of find out where Joker made that switch from like petty criminal about, gags and stuff like that to the big hardcore psychopath that we all know and love today. Batman number 80 or Batman number 90 in stores now. I thought it was really good.
I can't wait for the next ones. Next one I got was Gwen Stacy number 1, because we all knew her and Spider-Man had things starting off when they met in issue 31. But here's the whole origin of Gwen Stacy.
Oh my God, look at that child's face. It looks so horrid. Somebody needs to do a redesign on that cover. I believe there is some redesigns on this cover because this is a variant edition one, but oh God, that's scary.
She's a daughter of a police captain. Her best friend's Harry Osborn. She's a beauty queen of Standard High. There's a lot to know about her.
And if she doesn't get her neck snapped, she becomes a spider person.
Exactly. So this was a good one
or
to
she
get
gets a
some
neck snap.
back history of her.
Bottom line is someone's getting their neck snapped by the end of this series, whether it's Peter Parker or Gwen Stacy.
It's going to be Peter in this one.
Somebody's bound to get their neck, cracked into two. But that is the Gwen Stacy comic that he happened to pick up. My next pickups were all from the dollar store. If you remember last week, I talked about the Frozen comic book that I picked up for my daughter. Well, this week when I went to the dollar store to pick up some new figures that we'll be getting into a little bit later, I happened to find, first off, Disney's Frozen number 2. That's right, the second issue of Disney's Frozen. It was only $1 to pick up this comic book. at the Dollar Tree. I could not go wrong. My daughter enjoyed the read of it all. And then I also picked up Disney Princesses #2 and #3. It also says that it's #1 and #2. So I come to find out that these particular comics were released by 2 different publishers. So the first publisher released them normally in major comic retailers, and then the second publisher wound up picking them up and re-releasing them for the dollar store. So when I wound up picking up and looking at issue #1, let's see if I can go to my camera there we go. I wound up checking this out and saw that issue #1 was printed on the inside. There you can see it, right? And there you see it says issue #1. However, when I looked up to find out more about these books and how many other ones were in the series, I picked up issue #2 this past weekend, looked inside, says issue #3, which made me question and wonder, how is this comic running? If this is issue 3, this is issue 1, where's issue 2? Well, this is issue 2. Issue 1 is number
1 and 2?
Yeah, issue #1 of this pressing is actually issue #2. They fixed the inside cover a little bit before they went to press. However, when they did the second one, they didn't fix it. So this sometimes happens when you get a new publisher, this, that, and the other. And there was another issue of this that has a slightly different cover that I'm now on the hunt for. If I find it for a decent enough price, I might pick it up for my daughter. Even then, I picked up 3 books for $3. You can't really go with that. I always say try to find those dollar comics because sometimes they are really worth your bang for the buck.
I definitely agree. Next one I got was more as a gift for my friend Edward, because he's been a great friend. He's a huge Riddler fan.
I believe we featured him as a cosplay of the week one week.
Yes.
Which you can also check out in our archives.
So
I get to say that now.
This one was Riddler, Year of the Villain. So this one was very interesting. So Lex Luthor gave everybody, all the villains, different gifts. Well, not everybody got a gift. And Riddler's kind of upset. Why didn't he get one? Is it on purpose or was it an accident? So he goes off for a mission to find out what happened.
And of course, we talked about Year of the Villains, #1, 2, and 3, Hell Arisen, last week on the show, which is a book I happen to check out, which ties into that. And once again, this is a big overall arcing story. So sometimes you will find these single issues tying into them.
There's a bunch of different the villain ones.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of them because it's the Year of the Villain.
Yeah.
So, and once again, that Year of the Villain storyline is concluding in a few short months, and that brings us to Dark Knight's Death Metal, which will be the next big crossover of DC Comics before we get into 5G, which is an entirely other thing and another topic
reboot
for another day. We'll be getting into that one shortly, especially more that we start talking about Free Comic Book Day coming in May, because that's the official kickoff for 5G. Well, that's all of our new comic books for the week. I picked up a lot of stuff. Michael picked up a lot of stuff. I think we had a decent haul this week.
Yeah, my bank's not happy with it, but
well, I think the only thing that we can do now is actually kick it over to me as I conduct an interview at Sci-Fi Bartow this year with the one, the only, the backbreaker himself, Chuck Dixon, the creator of Bane.
Hello there, everybody. Once again, the Princess of Weird, Josh Johnson here with the amazing Chuck Dixon. Chuck, thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, no problem at all. Thanks for coming to me.
Obviously, we had to. How can we be doing a show called Comic Book 101 without having Chuck Dixon appear?
No, I am the master in my own mind.
So I got to ask you, I've talked to you briefly in the past at FusionCon about this, but this is a whole new audience. Some people may know, some people may not know. You were the man who created Bane and helped break the Batman. You see the art right there, ladies and gentlemen. What was the biggest inspiration for that story arc?
Well, we had to have a brand new villain for a massive 2-year continuity called Nightfall. And Denny O'Neil pretty much left it up to me once I complained about how hard it was going to be to create a villain who had to be popular. So the inspiration was desperation.
Now, as everybody knows, in The Dark Knight Rises, Bane was actually featured in it. How did you feel about seeing a character you created on the big screen?
I love the fact they made him a household name. I also like the fact that he was a whole lot smarter than he was in the previous movie he was in. So that was a big thing. So yeah, they made that movie kind of cements Bane into Batman continuity forever, which I'm grateful for.
Now, I got to ask, is there any particular version of Bane that you prefer beyond your own, obviously, whether it be the animated series, the Dark Knight Rises series, or anything like that?
The original Batman the Animated Series, I love his appearances there. I love the fact that Henry Silva did his voice. It's closest to what Graham and I created.
Now, one last question for you. What was the big inspiration to put Bane in the luchador mask? I'm a huge professional wrestling fan myself. Why the mask?
Well, initially when I was talking to Graham Nolan, the artist on Bane, we were talking over the phone, and I told his background would be he was a prisoner in a basically, Central American hellhole. And I talked about his physicality and everything else. And Graham was the one who said, well, maybe we should go for a luchadora look, stay with the Hispanic theme and go with the luchadora. And, the results speak for themselves.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us here, Chuck. Anyway, the fans at home can keep in touch with you.
You can find me on Facebook. I got a couple of pages under my own name, Chuck Dixon, or, look for me on Amazon. I always appreciate that.
All right. Any other books or anything you want to be plugging right now while we got the opportunity?
Expendables Go to Hell is currently on Indiegogo. We got about 20 days left. It is Sylvester Stallone and me writing a comic book about the Expendables literally going to hell and fighting Satan. It's a blast.
That sounds like an amazing comic. Ladies and gentlemen, please go out and back that comic book, The Expendables Go to Hell. This is Comic Book 101. This is Chuck Dixon. I'm the Princess of Weird. More in just a little bit.
And there you heard him, Chuck Dixon, the creator of Bane himself, writer of a great many a comic book. He's written G.I. Joe, he's written Batman. He's done a lot of things, and one heck of an interview there. Glad that he actually took the time to let us sit down and talk to him at Sci-Fi Bartow.
Because he was busy that weekend.
Yes, there was a lot of stuff going on, and we really do appreciate that. So now we're going to move things. We're going to switch gears a little bit here. We've talked about what new comics we purchased this week. Now it's time to talk what figures we purchased this week and our new weekly figure purchases of the week. Yes, I do. It should be asset number 11.
Our budget went up for this one.
Let's see. There we go. Yeah, it's a black screen. All right, so, yep. Learning things every day, ladies and gentlemen, with our show here. It's only 8 issues. We're still learning, but I guess we'll let you start this bad boy off since you're not going to open anything with your special little Bandai there.
I'm going to open that one, but I'll start with this one.
Yeah, let's start with the Bandai one. It's the first one on the list.
This one up right here. I'm a huge Power Ranger fan, and this one actually isn't new. I took it off a shelf.
What shelf did you take it off of?
My little collector's shelf at home. But where I found it was one night after leaving WeBeam TV Studios, heading back home when I used to live way out in Clearwater. Stopped off at Toys R Us. It was one of their last weeks they were open. So I'm like, okay.
We all remember the sale.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Toys R Us.
I miss you every day.
Come back, hopefully.
No, they have. Yeah. They have. It's only one store location. Yeah. It's like in New York, New Jersey somewhere. And it has no wrestling toys, so I don't care.
But I stopped there. I'm like, let's see what I can find. It's probably going to be empty shelves. And I didn't find much at first. Then I went to the Power Ranger aisle and found those, and they were like $5. I'm like, I gotta have these.
And they're actual metal coins, are they not? They're die-cast legacy series of the Power Rangers when Bandai was making them. It was a 2017 release, and all 5 of the coins from the Power Rangers movie with Ivan Ooze all set right there. That's one heck of a purchase, sir. Yeah. Especially for $5.
I didn't open that one. That one, I'm like, I'm going to keep that nice on the shelf as a nice little collector's piece.
Alrighty then. That's a heck of a purchase. We still miss Toys R Us every single day.
Open it, open it, open it. No, I will not open that one.
We will open my purchase, one of my purchases of this week, which is the brand new 2020, came out this year, Spin Masters Batman figures, and I happened to pick up my favorite, the Joker. These little bad boys, it's only 4.5 inches tall. But what makes them so amazing is look at all, you won't be able to see it on the camera there yet, but look at all that articulation in this action figure for only 4.5 scales.
Accessories included.
And they come with some mystery accessories. We're going to find out. You pull, there's a little pull tab right here. These open up.
That got real easy. Pull tab.
Oh yeah, these figures are really entertaining and really interesting because you get 3 mystery accessories inside, so they're usually the same accessory, but they're all themed differently to which mission you get. There are 4 different missions. You can get Arkham Asylum, you can get the Carnival Grounds, you can get the docks, and then you can get the rooftops of Gotham City itself, and each figure is different. So
do you know what missions you're getting ahead of time?
you do not. So we're going to find this out all together right here at Spin Masters. These are brand new to shelves. You can go to your local Walmarts, local Targets, anywhere you buy your action figures, and they are there. They actually recently showed these off at Toy Fair of 2020 in New York. There you pull the little pull tab. It's that simple. It comes off. And then let's see what we got for my mystery. Oh my goodness, they've really put the tape on this mystery. And it's the Batman versus the Joker here. Oh man, they really taped this. They want you to rip it, but it's taped down immensely hard. Oh, I got the Carnival Grounds.
That suits his personality right there.
Yeah, of course. And then you pull the little pull tab. My Joker came with this little boxing gun bazooka. What else does he come with? Oh my goodness, a little
rubber chicken?
Nope, it's one of the teeth bombs with an actual bomb attached to it. And then last but not least, a pair of bat gauntlets for him to wear. You can even put them on your Batman figure and add more accessories to your Batman. So let's see if there's anything else there. Nope, it's just that. That's the little bit that they give you. That's a little bit saddening. But nevertheless, still a pretty amazing toy. Pops off really easy.
No zip ties. That's the best toy right there.
Nope, there is one little plastic tie in the back, but it's the little rubber band one, so it'll be way easier to get this little guy out than some of the last ones. And once again, look, his elbows bend, his arms move, his legs move. Like, he can do a split. Like, this is more articulation than you normally see in a 4.5 scale action figure. And once again, they have Batman, they have Man-Bat, they have Nightwing, they have the Joker. This series is only in Series 1 right now, and if you go online for some of the Toy Fair stuff, you can see what's coming out in Series 2 coming this fall. There's another Joker where he's in the black suit. I can't wait.
Something real quick here. Every week when we do it, he yeets the packages along. This week, he kept it all nice and neat on the table. They didn't go flying. There we go. Now it's a normal show.
Now it's a normal show, yes.
Can't have it all nice and clean. We can't have that here.
Yeah, no. That's what the front of the table is for. But you happen to get the next figure this week.
Yes, I randomly found this at another local shop in town, and Shatterstar. We all remember him from the last Deadpool movie.
Yes, we do.
So, and it's one of the Marvel
Wasn't he the one that kind of looked like Ben Stiller a little bit?
Yeah.
Like from
if
Zoolander?
I'm right, he's the one that fell in the helicopter.
Yeah, he was the alien guy that got scraped up and everything like that. This is a Marvel 2017 6-inch Legend Series figure. And once again, it's X-Men Shatterstar. He comes with an accessories of the swords there, but he also comes with an extra piece which helps you build a bigger figure, which is the Marvel Legends Signature Series line of you buy 6 figures, you get the 7th one free, and they're usually much more massive than some of the other ones. I've seen Galactus, I've seen the Sentinels, I've seen the Abomination, some of these really taller figures are really worth the price, even if there's characters you might not like. So they might be worth buying just for this.
Couple little nifty swords. There we go.
There you go. There's Shatterstar, and there's the Joker. Let's see if we can't sit them up, get them properly nice fitted here. Get these joints moving. I wonder who's got more articulation, Joker or him?
I think he does.
Well,
there we go.
But there we go. He's not staying, really, so... Trying here, Rob. Trying to make him stay, but he doesn't want to. Even with all these points of articulation, it's going to take me a little bit. You saw how long it took me to set that other one.
So then
there we go. There he is.
We have another trade.
Yes, this is another trade.
We have another trade.
Once again,
a logo for that now because
I'm going to have
trades are happening.
Yeah. So. Once again, me and Michael here, we've been talking, discussing. He happened to happen upon this Ripper Snapper Transformers figure. And on one of our last episodes, I happened to bring up the little Grimlock minifigure that you could find at the dollar stores. And I wound up finding Soundwave, Starscream, and Megatron of the minifigs. And
he's still my heart right there.
Mr. Cosplay in Tampa Bay, Michael Stanley.
I'm opening these.
Are your new figures. And Mr. Ripper Snapper here, one of the Terracons, is now mine. I'll let you go first with opening these minifigs. Oh, that's a pretty awesome looking Megatron.
So what's funny about Megatron is I found I want to say Megatron one year. They have a small limited line there, very expensive, the world's smallest Transformers. And
I've heard of
fully
these.
transform. Even the Soundwave, his tape deck opens up, a little Ravage pops up, and the size is probably about the size up to his knees.
Oh yeah. Not a lot of articulation in these minifigs, but that is bound to happen sometimes with minifigs.
So you got Megatron, you got his #1 sidekick that he loves to yell at.
One of my all-time favorite characters. I'm trying to make the Joker finally stand.
My other all-time favorite character, Soundwave, right there.
You know, like I've been discussing this with my wife since I'm obviously on this Transformers kick as of late, that with this Transformers card game that I've been collecting, that I could care less what Autobots I get because I've got to do.
It's all about the Decepticons.
Yeah, it really is for me. And I told her, I'm like, I got to pick out my entire team of like, I need a Megatron card. I need at least one Megatron. I need at least one Starscream because they do have other character cards in the game for the different, versions and stuff like that. But I'm like, I need my guys. Like, I need Soundwave, Megatron, Starscream, obviously Devastator. I need the Dinobots. And the only Autobots that I actually care for and stuff like that. This Joker figure does not want to stay this week. All right. On to my good old friend, Mr. Ripper Snapper. Let's pop him open.
Which I got him last year at a convention in Largo.
I want to point this out, that it's going to take me a minute to do this, because whoever had this figure before, Michael, you are my proof here. Look at the tape.
Yeah.
This was starting to come apart beforehand, and somebody did a tape job on it, which is going to make it like almost impossible for me to open. But
so I got that Largo PlayCon last year,
which I believe we are in some talks of. Like more on that later, I guess.
Largo PlayCon's actually coming March 28th.
So more news on that, I guess, coming in the next few weeks.
I get more news, hopefully.
Yeah, there's the little Ripper Snapper Terracon card, because all these wonderful figures come with their own little trading card. And then we pop that off. Oh, hold up. Throw that over there, and then throw this. Would you like to do it this time? Yeet! There we go! And here comes...
Weak yeet there.
Yeah, a little bit. Except for I don't understand the terminology. All right, come on, Ripper Snapper. What a name, too, Ripper Snapper. So, of course, he is a Terracon, and the beauty part of the Terracons is, I don't know if you know this, Michael, but if you get the other Terracons, there is another 4 of them. They all join together and form a big, giant, Devastator-like Transformer. It's part of the Combiner Wars, but there you have Ripper Snapper, almost sharky-upped and ready to go, even though he's technically not a shark. He's some other thing, and apparently his...
Can't stand too well.
Yeah, they made his legs pretty bad here, so... There we go, there's Ripper Snapper. Stands better than the Joker, I mean...
Bent over now.
It's messed up. But there you got the little hand device to help him build out the bigger figure. There you go. There are all of our figure purchases of the week. There is Shatterstar, the Power Rangers Ninjetti coin set, the 3 minifigs of Soundwave, Starscream, and Megatron, the Joker,
which is now standing up,
and Ripper Snapper. Great figure purchases. I think this is the most figures we've opened on this show in 1 week. So I'm extremely happy. I know Michael's extremely happy.
I got a little trivia real quick before you get sidetracked, a little rabbit hole.
All right, so if it's like the glass game.
It's about Transformers.
All right.
Okay, so in Transformers Generation 1, first season.
G1, all right.
What villain showed up from another cartoon and became a villain on here? But he changed his name a little bit. He didn't go by the normal name. He changed it. It was another cartoon that was a real big hit at the same time period.
And it was the Transformers.
Yes.
Let's say G.I. Joe.
What character?
Cobra Commander.
Yes.
See? Because Cobra Commander actually, known fact, he
switched over his name to Snake Man when he went over there.
What I was going to say is not only does Hasbro own both G.I. Joe and Transformers, and they've had numerous crossovers in the past.
Same voice actors.
But the same voice actor of Cobra Commander is Oh man, it's trying to put me on the spot now. I want to say it is the same voice as Starscream, if I am correct. So he's going to double check me so we don't have to do it on housekeeping next week. So
That's a good part, doing a live show. I can
actually Google this right now. But yes, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Transformers, big, huge in part of my childhood, big, huge in Michael's childhood. And guaranteed, in the next few weeks, I'm going to be reading one of the most interesting Transformer comics that have ever come across the screen.
So who did you say he voiced?
I want to say that Cobra Commander was the same voice as Starscream.
Yes.
See,
Christopher Charles Collins was his name.
Didn't know the name, but I can tell the voice from time to time. My favorite one, though, is Kirsten Schull. She voices Mabel on Gravity Falls, Luis in Bob's Burgers, and then whatever else she does is always amazing. Kirsten Schull, I love you. So, and she's acting with Batista now, so can't do no wrong. But we're going to move on to our next interview of the show, which good old Michael did with our good friends over at the Guardians of Justice.
Here we are at Sci-Fi Bartow, and I'm here with Captain America. We're with Guardians of Justice. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. So tell us about Guardians of Justice.
So Guardians of Justice is a local 501c3 charity organization based in Tampa, Orlando area. And we're basically out here today to recruit new members and let everybody know what we do. These are some of the events, as you can see back here, that we've done. We've done Bright Start Pediatrics, Nathaniel's Hope. We speak for them, Down Syndrome Association. So basically we're out here today in Bartow to recruit new people. So if you're out here, come on out.
That's awesome. So how did you get involved with this wonderful company?
I got involved basically through my local cosplay community. I knew some people that were members here. I knew Jim Moore and Xavier, and basically started with the organization. And I've been doing it now for about 1.5 years.
All right. And how many cosplays have you done so far? Because I've known you for a while, and I know a few of your cosplays, but how many have you done?
Oh boy, I've done more than I can count. I've done everywhere from Captain America to Batman to Daredevil to Green Arrow, you name it, and I've still got many more on the list.
Awesome. So where can everybody find Guardians of Justice at?
You can find them on Facebook. Just look up Guardians of Justice. We also have, I don't know if they can see the card here, but info@guardiansofjustice.org, and just check us out on Facebook.
All right, awesome. And we'll be back shortly.
Back here, and it's been a great interview with the Guardians of Justice. That was overdone at Sci-Fi Bartow 2020. We have a few more interviews coming in the next few weeks because we've been telling you guys we've got a ton of them coming. I don't know why you've been sleeping on us for a little bit. We've interviewed Chuck Dixon this week, Paul Mounts, Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti. We've got so many more that we're lining up. Butch Patrick from the Munsters, Eddie Munster himself.
And who knows if Largo PlayCon, if we end up going, which we'll probably end up going one way or another, we'll get interviews there too.
Definitely. Maybe I'll get some of my good old buddies from the wrestling world in here for an interview sometime, because I know a lot of the guys who do the fantasy super cosplay wrestling that you see at some of the cons, and I know a lot of those guys are really great. Heck of a show if you've ever seen it, and maybe I can get on one in the future. This is my audition tape, right? All right, but we're going to move things over to the cosplay in Tampa Bay world of our cosplayer of the week. Do it.
Need a little echo effect for that.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Is it? There we go.
There we go.
And our cosplayer of the week. Take it away, Mr. Michael Stanley.
So she goes by Goobs Arts on Instagram. And if we can pop up some of our photos, and I'll go over a few things. So what got her into cosplay was her love for anime and modeling got her into cosplay. Her favorite cosplay is Shoten Doji, if I pronounced that right. If not, I apologize. What she loves about cosplay is she can express herself freely in cosplays and bring her favorite characters to life. And her next cosplay, it's a secret. She wouldn't even tell me. I tried. I'm like, give me a hint. She's like, I can't. I'm keeping a big secret.
I'm guaranteeing it's an anime character.
On her, yeah, of course. It's all anime. Most of them.
But no, a heck of a cosplay there. She has a lot of great photos. Yeah, so and of course, if you are a cosplayer out there and you want some photos done, you want to hit up this man right here, Mr. Cosplay in Tampa Bay. You can add him on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you're using your social media, and find my good buddy over there and maybe set you up a good old photo shoot. I know we're still trying to figure out timing and everything
Yeah.
for the ones we're going to be doing, but we'll obviously showcase them on this show.
And before we go to the next segment, Edward say, hey, it's Gannon, the person I interviewed. Edward's good friends with him as well. And he said that it's a good group, that the charity event that they do.
Nice, and that's always great, especially seeing people get together and doing things for a charity. Yeah. I do a few charity shows myself, hence the briefcase behind me each and every week from the wonderful Fast Pass Rumble that I won. And yeah, that always goes to event Ability Street, Florida. They go and get money for them, and it's from Brawl USA. Yes.
Every time we're done, I pick it up, and there's always something in there, and I'm told I can't look in it until we'll know when it happens.
Yes, we have a random surprise in there. We'll eventually get to it. Who knows when?
He goes, you'll know when it happens, we'll do it.
If we're ever short on time, ladies and gentlemen, that's guaranteed. We're going to the case. But we're not short on time this week, it looks like. I want to know what's in because we are going to move on to our character spotlight of the week, and we got a new graphic!
Woohoo! Our budget keeps going up.
I know.
We're doing something right around here.
Apparently somebody might like us. And we got the new wall clock. It's the aluminum Falcon. It's my ship. That's right. We got a replica of my ship there.
The what Falcon?
The aluminum Falcon. Look, I renamed the ship, okay? I didn't like
You can't have that ship.
That's my ship now. It's properly mine. It's part of canon.
Is Chewbacca your co-pilot?
No, I don't want him. My co-pilot is a little droid named L337 who's embedded into the ship. So, yeah, screw that Wookiee. But our good old character spotlight of this week, it's not the Fantastic 1, it's not the Fantastic 2, it's not the Fantastic 3, it's Fantastic 4. Well, technically, they're up to like Fantastic 6.
Four.
Fantastic 4. Fantastic 1. Fantastic 2. You don't watch the same shows as me, apparently. So, no Arrested Development for you?
No.
Cease and desist letter for you. Yeah, apparently we can't sing that song. But we can talk about the first family of Marvel Comics created by the one and only Stanley and Jack Kirby. The very first issue all the way back in November 1961, Fantastic Four. There's the first issue, Michael. We always bring up that first issue, and boy howdy, what a tone was set with this new debuting family.
I got nothing on that.
You got nothing to say on that one. Way to go.
That caught me off guard. I'm like, wait, I had something and it just went out my head.
Of course, we're talking about Mr. Fantastic himself, Reed Richards, the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, the Human Torch, the Human Flamer himself, Johnny Storm, and of course, the man that they call the Thing. The Human Rock, the Man of Hard Knocks.
What's your favorite character?
Of the Fantastic Four, it's obvious. Hello, it's clobbering time, baby. CM Punk. No, wait a minute. The Thing. The Thing is actually, technically, I'm wrong. I'm lying. I really am. Because believe it or not, I've done a lot of research. The Thing used to be one of my favorite characters until I started doing some research for the show, and Valerie Von Doom is going to be my new favorite. The daughter of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, or technically the daughter of Sue Storm and Victor Von Doom. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with this character. We'll talk a little bit more about her in a little bit.
I've always liked Human Torch.
I like the Human Torch, but I like the kids a little bit more. Franklin and Valerie are where it's at for me. And of course, because of them and seeing some of the other family members and stuff, we would get other Fantastic Four members in Spider-Man, Wolverine. There have been a lot of people to don the Fantastic Four outfits over time, which has always made things a little bit more interesting. But the biggest thing that we have to talk about isn't the creation of the Fantastic Four. It's actually one of their biggest nemesises. And one of the biggest nemesises of all of Marvel Comics. Of course, we are talking about the World Eater himself,
Bray Wyatt.
Galactus, one of my personal favorites from Marvel Comics. I do love me some Galactus. Not my all-time favorite, mind you, but there you see the Galactus trilogy, the coming of Galactus, and Galactus doing his thing, and then the Silver Surfer going off and having his own adventures. This would be adapted into the second Fantastic Four movie, very loosely, mind you, because it was done by Fox. But there you see all 3 issues of the Galactus trilogy, and you can go out and find all of these in a graphic novel form created by Lee and Kirby, considered one of the quintessential Fantastic Four stories ever to be created.
What I love about Galactus is I love seeing cosplayers do it because it's such a unique cosplay. You don't think people would pull it off, but I've seen people full stilts build the whole suit, and they're 8 feet up and everything. And it's amazing.
And the more detail you get into something like that, the better it's going to be. Heck, some of the action figures they've released, that Marvel Legends toy line that we were just talking about, the Galactus is huge. Like HeroClix Galactus is even huge.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of toys. Mighty Mugs did one. It's the only Galactus figure I happen to own right now. But so many great figures of the Galactus World Eater, not to mention Silver Surfer and any of the other Fantastic Four.
It's great because that's where you learn about Silver Surfer, why he's working for Galactus,
and eventually, because the Fantastic Four would allow Galactus to live and continue on thanks to the Watcher and stuff like that, inevitably the Fantastic Four would go on trial, specifically Reed Richards, to defend him allowing Galactus to live, because all Galactus does is eat worlds, but he brings a balance to the universe by doing so. We would then move on to a retelling of the Fantastic Four, because around the 2000s, we wound up hitting a point where we went ultimate. And boy, howdy, did we go ultimate
with everything.
We went to the Ultimate Fantastic Four, the Fantastic. There's issue #1 and volume #1. It's almost the same cover, but of course, the graphic novel, volume #1, contains the first 6 issues and shows how the team got their powers. Different than the original incarnation of it, because that was the whole purpose of the Marvel Universe, or Ultimate Marvel Universe, was to take the stories you knew and alter them and change them slightly to bring them into the new universe. Now, that universe has perished, but the greatest thing it gave us was Miles Morales' Spider-Man.
One of my favorite Spider-Mans right there.
And of course, he wound up jumping to the main continuity, and it's also because of the Ultimate Fantastic Four that we have the Marvel Zombies continuity, because it was the Ultimate Reed Richards who would discover the Zombies universe.
And that's going to be a whole nother topic another day.
And that it most certainly is. And the Ultimate line is actually, we'll talk about this in a little bit more in depth a little bit when we start talking about the films, about how this storyline is what was actually used for the 4th telling of the Fantastic Four storyline in the 4th film. That was
3rd film.
Well, 3rd, 4th, depending on how you look at it. We'll cover that in a little bit more but the more controversial of them, still to me not the worst one, but we'll get to that in a minute. But we move on to Fantastic Four Volume 1. Now, this is another graphic novel. This one was written by Jonathan Hickman in 1997, and this was an awesome book to me.
And to the New Earth.
Not only do we deal with New Earth, but are you a Rick and Morty fan?
Not really. I've tried. I've honestly tried. No.
So I'm a Rick and Morty fan. Everybody who is a Rick and Morty fan, even if you're kind of a Rick and Morty fan, you've heard of the Council of Ricks, right? How there's all these different Ricks from all these different multiverses who convened together and tried to solve the world's problems. In 1997, Reed Richards was the first man to do this. Rick and Morty had stolen this creative idea from Marvel Comics in the Council of Reeds. That's right, in this issue, Volume 1 of Fantastic Four by Jonathan Hickman, we see the Council of Reed Richards and them try to solve every single problem that the universe has. And yes, like in Rick and Morty, we see all the different versions from different universes, slightly different. Some look the same. One's got the gray streak in his hair. Whatever it may be, they all come together. And this is the issue that you get to see this happen. And as a Rick and Morty fan, I had no idea that Reed Richards did it first. And that's impresses in and of itself.
Which is great, of course. Why not have him? He's the smartest person alive.
Exactly. And to see Rick and Morty pay homage to this, whether knowingly or unknowingly, most likely knowingly, and pull the wool over so many people's eyes and not realize it was a Fantastic Four reference this entire time, I give it up to him.
There's another show that does that. The Flash, Harrison Wells. They go to the multiverse, and they've actually pulled the Council of Wells out, where they pull different Wells from all the universes, because at one time they were going through a main villain they needed to find out how to get rid of, and who else? The smartest man in that universe at the time.
Now, for our last issue, I told you we were going to talk a little bit more about Valerie Von Doom, and this is the one that we're going to talk about, because what's about to happen to the Fantastic Four is completely unthinkable, and that's the name of the book, Unthinkable, because in this one, Doom goes all out. The very first words uttered by Valerie Storm, Valerie Richards, whatever you want to call her, Valerie Von Doom, is just simply that. She looks at her family and goes, Doom. And then a bunch of Doombots come in and kidnap her. In the very first issues of this comic book, in the very first panels, Dr. Doom finds one of his long-lost loves, a woman by the name of Valerie, who he professes his love to and that he's missed. And then he kills her and rips her skin off of her body and proceeds to make himself a new indestructible armor. In that time period, he gained so much more magical ability than he had before. Now, this is why Dr. Doom is hands down one of my all-time favorite Marvel characters. He's up there with Venom for me because of this. Not only is Dr. Doom a man of impeccable brilliance, a man smarter than smart. His mind runs like a supercomputer. But when that isn't enough, he goes to the world of magic, and he's even stronger than Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange himself in the magic world. He's one of the most powerful sorcerers in the entire Marvel's universe, and this Unthinkable comic is where he showcases it all, because he uses the magic to imprison the Fantastic Four and torture them, and then rips Reed Richards away from them and forces him into a library with nothing but magical literature. All of the books contain magical spells, and Reed Richards is such a man of science, and he's so much like Tony Stark in the sense of that they can't allow it. He can't fathom magic, and that is how they actually win the day, is when Reed Richards calls himself stupid and that he can't understand it. Does he finally understand magic for a little bit and able to reverse it and defeat Victor Von Doom and Dr. Doom? But in the process, it kills one of the members of the Fantastic Four. Which one, you're going to have to read and find out. And they get Valerie back. They get Franklin back. Everybody gets dragged to hell pretty much, including Doom, who ends the comic being dragged into hell. That's going to end all of our comic spotlights. We're going to move on to the movie versions now of the Fantastic Four. So we're going to talk about the very first one, all the way back.
Nobody really saw.
Nobody saw this one.
1994.
Because it was never released. Yes. The only reason this movie was made was so that they didn't lose the movie rights to it. And then we got the 2005 version of the Fantastic Four.
Which you had Ian Groford, however you pronounce his name, Jessica Alba, which is my favorite. Then Captain America himself was Johnny Storm.
That's America's flaming ass.
Michael Chiklis was Ben Grimm. But what I loved was the actor that played Victor Von Doom.
I hated it.
So I love the actor because right before this came out,
he was
on the no, before that. Nip Tuck, I think, happened after this.
No, Nip Tuck was slightly before this.
Because he was also on Charmed, which got me to like him.
So I was a Nip Tuck fan, and the moment I saw the guy who was the sexed up doctor from that was playing Doom, it turned me off a little bit.
Great. I'm like, all right, he's a great actor. He should be a good Doom, and the movie.
And they had a sequel of it in 2007, which returned all of the same cast back for the film, and that one featured the Silver Surfer, because it was the rise of the Silver Surfer,
which was played by Doug Jones.
And we know him as Abe Sapien from the Hellboy movies. I love Doug Jones. I think he's one of the best underrated character actors out there.
What doesn't Doug Jones do?
Exactly.
He's done so much.
And I thought he did a great job. And then in 2015, we got the reimagining of the Fantastic Four. This one was more based off of the Ultimates line that we just talked about, where the other two were more based off of the original version. And then the 1990s version nobody ever seen. It was horrible and is arguably the worst one to this day. I'm sorry. The 2015 one holds nothing to the 94 one.
No, you got a point there, but nobody's seen the 94. Nobody can... Yeah, we can still judge it.
Yeah, we can still judge it based off of what we have seen, the promotional material that is out there. I believe some leaked copies that did eventually get out there for the 94 version. And to say that the 2015 one is the absolute worst version of it, I haven't even seen the movie yet, and I know it's not.
So I like Michael B. Jordan, so I didn't mind him being Johnny Storm.
You mean Creed?
Yeah, Creed.
His Creed's kid. But to me, I still haven't seen it. So tell you what, why don't we do this one? You've already seen it, I haven't. So why don't we do a movie review of it for our housekeeping next week? I'm going to spend the week. At some point, I'll watch the new 2015 one, and I'm going to let you all know what I think of it. test up to my standards, because I don't like to bash things. I always like to promote what you love. And, you know, if you hate something, put it to the side. Don't really talk about it.
So you need to watch the 2005 version, then the 2015, so you can compare both.
Oh, I've seen the 2005, 2007 versions. I've loved those versions. I thought they were really good for what they were. But I haven't seen this 2015 one because, like you, I heard so much bad news about it. But when I heard it was more based off the Ultimates universe, that kind of everything now makes a little bit more sense to me.
In the last Spider-Man movie, there was a little hint. The new Fantastic Four movie coming.
Yes, there was.
At the very end, there was a little hint you had to look for.
Maybe Avengers Tower is going to become the Baxter building, but who knows? But that's going to do it for us here on another week of Comic Book 101.
We got a little time.
Of course we do got a little bit of time, but this is where we get to plug our stuff.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, you'll be able to find me this Saturday at New Heights Wrestling, all the way up in Caryville, Florida. Nope, this one's in Vernon, Florida. It's in some place in Florida. It's up in the Panhandle. There's the flyer. You see the info on the bottom. I've got some magical plans for that place and my good friends of Sirice. That's another story. Then come WrestleMania weekend, it's Kaiju Big Battle for 2 big shows. They got 2 midnight shows, one Friday night, one Saturday night, or Sunday night right after WrestleMania. And then in between that, I have IPW Hardcore Wrestling Cracking Skulls over at our good friends 81 Bay Brewing Company. And then, of course, as always, take it away, Michael.
So this weekend, Saturday, I'll be at Bay Area Renaissance Festival with our co-host from Nerd Talk, Sidekins. We're going to be going there and having some fun, being dressed up as pirates and whatnot.
And of course, you'll be doing photos for cosplay in Tampa Bay.
21st, we'll be at the comic shop. Can't forget
the signing.
That. Then the 28th, hopefully, it's still in the works. We're going to be going to Largo PlayCon. And we'll
be figuring it all out. And if you're somebody out there who wants your photos done, please hit them up at Cosplay in Tampa Bay. You can follow us on all forms of social media at Comic Book 101 TV. Till next week, we'll see you then.